What's going on, everyone? I'm AB Sports. It seems like every day a new NFL team shuts down their practice facility from a positive test, but the season is still chugging along, and honestly, the watchability of these games this year are at an all-time high. There's an abundance of scoring, and there are so many games coming down to the wire. 5 weeks into the season, let's see where everyone stacks up. There's some good old power rankings. I'm going to start at 32 and go all the way up to number 1. At 32 is the Jets. They're 0-5, and they haven't even been competitive with anyone this year. They've allowed at least 27 points every week and haven't even had a one-possession game this year. I think this might be the worst NFL team I've ever seen. 31 is the Falcons. They're 0-5, and there might be some teams that are playing worse than Atlanta right now, but it seems like the Falcons are allergic to winning. Their defense is pitiful, and their offense has fallen off a cliff in recent weeks. At 30, the Giants, the last of the three 0-5 teams. The Giants play hard, I'll give that to them. They kept it tight in Chicago, LA, and Dallas. They don't have a very good roster, but they're filled with young players who have potential to become good. At 29, the football team. They're sitting at 1-4. They beat Philly in week 1 and haven't even come close to another win since. At 28 is the 49ers. Now this may seem low for the team that just went to the Super Bowl, but the only teams the 2-3 Niners have beat are the Giants and the Jets. They just got demolished by the Dolphins. Garoppolo was benched at halftime, and Nick Bosa is out for the year. This week's game against the Rams is massive for San Francisco's season. At 27 is the Broncos, and the Broncos are very unknown at this point in the year. They sit at 1-3, haven't played anyone since week 4 Thursday night, where they got their only win of the season over the Jets. Von Miller's hurt, Cortland Sutton's hurt, and we've only seen one game from Drew Lock. At 26, the Jags. Jacksonville's lost 3 straight games to previously winless teams. That's impressive. They sit at 1-4, but I'll give it to them. They're entertaining. Minshew's playing hard. James Robinson looks like a future star at running back. There isn't enough defensive talent for this team to win consistently. At 25 is the Bengals. The Bengals' only win is against the Jags, and they're 1-3-1 overall. Joe Burrow looks like a future star at quarterback, but Cincinnati's got a lot of work to do to build up the defense and especially the offensive line if they want to be a playoff contender. At 24, the Lions. Detroit had at least a 10-point lead in all 4 games so far this year, and they've come out of that with a 1-3 record. I do not think Matt Patricia is a good coach, but the schedule has been tough so far. They have to beat Jacksonville this week, or the season might be over. At 23, the Cowboys. Prayers up for Dak Prescott. After his brutal injury last week, I think Dallas is going to struggle. The Cowboys have allowed 180 points through 5 games, and Dak was just good enough to keep them in those games. Andy Dalton is not. At 22, the Eagles. Philly is 1-3-1 and plays Baltimore this week, which will almost assuredly drop them to 1-4-1. I still think that with no Dak, they are the best team in this division and will win it at a record of 6-9-1. Although, Wentz needs to stop throwing the ball to the other team. At 21, the Texans. Houston started off the season against Kansas City, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. Those will probably be their hardest games all season. They were 0-4 and fired their head coach, but now at 1-4, the schedule has to get easier. Maybe Deshaun Watson can pull off some Houdini magic and bring Houston to the playoffs. If he does, he deserves MVP. At 20, the Colts. The league's best defense statistically through the first 4 weeks was blown out of the water by Cleveland, and Phillip Rivers looks really bad. The Colts are the most overrated team in the league in my opinion. At 19 is the Dolphins. Miami is 2-3 but lost to Seattle, New England, and Buffalo this year, who are all of the top tier teams in the league. They just scored 43 points in San Francisco. Fitzmagic is playing really well, and I'm a huge fan of Coach Brian Flores and the culture he's creating in Miami. At 18, the Panthers. Carolina has won 3 games in a row now without Christian McCaffrey. The defense doesn't stop anyone, but Teddy Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson have a special connection, and McCaffrey should return soon to make the offense even better. The Panthers being tied at 3-2 for the division lead is one of my biggest surprises through 5 weeks. At 17, the Vikings. I can't believe that Minnesota's 1-4. Granted, 3 of their losses have come to undefeated teams, Green Bay, Seattle, and Tennessee, and they were competitive in each of those games. They have Atlanta and then a bye to get healthy and then start winning some games. I still think this is a team that has a ton of talent and can make the playoffs. At 16, the Chargers. They are 1-4, just like Minnesota, but they've come so painfully close to beating Kansas City, Tampa, and especially New Orleans. I really like the future of this team when their defense gets healthy, because Justin Herbert is playing like a franchise quarterback. At 15, the Cardinals. Arizona looks like a top 5 team through 2 weeks. but then lost 2 in a row to Detroit and Carolina because Kyler threw too many picks and the defense did not play well. They had a get-right game against the Jets to get to 3-2, and DeAndre Hopkins is still playing incredible. But the loss of Chandler Jones for this season makes me think the Cardinals will be watching the playoffs from home come January. At 14, the Saints. Saints are 3-2, but they look off. They were outplayed by the Chargers and only won because of a missed extra point and field goal by Chargers kicker Michael Badgley. Their defense could not stop Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, or Matthew Stafford for the life of them, and Breeze just doesn't look like he has it. Maybe when Michael Thomas finally returns, things will be different. At 13, the Bucks. In weeks 2 to 4, Tampa looked like they were getting it together, but that O-line could not handle the Bears in week 5. Now at 3-2, with Brady playing okay, the Bucks need to turn it up real quick for a date with the Packers this Sunday. At 12 is the Bears, and for the 4-1 Bears, a win is a win. Chicago has mastered the ugly win, rarely scoring and playing tough D, hoping the other team makes a critical mistake. With the schedule getting tougher, the offense needs to gain confidence against the Panthers this weekend. 11. The Raiders. The knock on Derek Carr was always that he didn't throw the ball down the field. Now, with professional field stretchers and Henry Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar at his disposal, Darren Waller always open across the middle of the field, and a great young back in Josh Jacobs, this Raiders offense is now a force to be reckoned with. Also, they beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. At 10, the Patriots. New England is not talked about enough. They're 2-2 and kind of off people's minds because last time we saw them it was Brian Hoyer under center. But Cam Newton and Bill Belichick are a dangerous pairing that can make waves in January if they get healthy. At 9, the Bills. Buffalo looked incredible through 4 weeks and then hit a real big hiccup Tuesday against the Titans to fall to 4-1. The offense hasn't been the problem. Allen is developing thanks to his connection with Diggs, but the Bills' defense has been ransacked by injuries. They have no shot against the Chiefs or maybe against anybody without Tre'Davious White. At 8, the Steelers. Big Ben is playing some of the best football of his career. Chase Claypool looks like a star and the defense is fierce. But the teams the Steelers have beat to achieve their 4-0 record are a combined 3-15-1. They need to beat someone before I take them seriously. At 7, the Browns. Sitting at 4-1, which is more wins than they had from 2015 to 2017 combined, Cleveland is good, led by a high-powered offense and fierce running game. No one's going to want to tackle Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt all game by the end of the season. At number 6, the Rams. Much like the Steelers, the Rams haven't beat very many good teams this year. In fact, they've only beat the entire NFC East. But Aaron Donald might be having his best season as a pro, which is saying a lot with his 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Also, Sean McVay is now 37-16 as a head coach and is perfect for Jared Goff. At 5 is the Titans. Dating back to last year, the Titans have won 7 of 8 games, with their only loss being the AFC Championship. They just destroyed the Bills with Derrick Henry struggling early in the season. The Titans are scary when he gets going later in the year. Number 4, the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is the MVP. He is the most valuable player because Seattle would be 4-12 without his heroics week in and week out. This is a very flawed team with great offensive skill position players who can't seem to lose and sit at 5-0. At 3, the Ravens. Outside of the Chiefs game, the Ravens are outscoring opponents 129-42. They're 4-1 and are still very, very good, even though Kansas City is just better. And speaking of Kansas City, number 2 is the Chiefs, who are also 4-1. Kansas City is lucky to not be 2-3 right now. They looked flat all game against the Chargers, who choked, and the Patriots, who didn't have Cam. Otherwise, I think they would have lost both of those games. The Raiders outmuscled them. They seem to be fighting harder. But who am I kidding? They were 6-4 last year, and we all know how that ended up. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. And at 1, the Packers. 4-0, 38 points a game. Defensive line and offensive line are at the very top of the league. Oh, and Aaron Rodgers has 13 touchdowns and 0 interceptions and 128 passer rating, throwing to Robert Tonyan and Allen Lazard. It's a good time to be a Packers fan. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, how about leaving a like and subscribing to the channel? Let me know who's too high, who's too low, and thanks for watching.